Well, welcome to another episode here of the Alamo City Sportscast. We are broadcasting live to you from beautiful West San Antonio, Photo Exit 7 in the house here. We're going to be joined today by our good friend here of Sweep the League. We're going to be joined by Rudy Campos Jr. Rudy, how's it going today, man?
Good, man. Beautiful sunny day here on exit 189. I'm not on your exit, so I'm a little further down from you. But yeah, good old exit 189 now.
And we got to give a big shout out here, big birthday shout out to one Matt Lerma, who's in the chat right now. Happy birthday to you, Matt. Hope you're having a great day out there, man. I'll hit you up later on, man. But we're going to go ahead and start talking about some NFL news, man. Not NFL, NBA news. We went ahead and had some great games last night, both thrillers, man. We had 76ers, Knicks, you had the Lakers and the Nuggets, man. And we got to show the screen, dude. We have to. This was the thriller, man, that was over here in the final seconds of the Lakers and Nuggets game, man. All
It's
Murray,
Jamal
man.
Murray, man. I mean, the guy had a terrible shooting night. I think he scored like 14 of his 20 in the last quarter. I mean, he had a terrible shooting night, but
You hit the
shooters
one that
shoot, man.
counts.
Yeah, he hit the one that count, but he got hot at the end, and that's kind of what was important
Yeah.
for Denver there. But yeah, who do you blame, Joe? I mean, apparently you blame the Foot Locker guys again.
Who knows, man? Something always happens with the Lakers, dude. When they lose, they always got to blame somebody. They have to have a scapegoat. It's the thing that the Lakers do. It's never the team's fault as a whole. It's never AD's fault. Never LeBron's fault. You all blew a 20-point lead, man.
It's
They
Star
had
Baglam's fault.
they had the Nuggets on the ropes and they let them back in. They
Mhm.
effed around and found out. And what happened in the end? Denver comes through and they just erased that
Dude,
20-point lead, man. It was beautiful to watch. I was just sitting there and I was just thinking, like Matt Lerman was saying, Lakers fans are going to be in shambles, especially on the X, dude, when they go into the Lakers spaces and all that.
mm,
You already knew what was going to happen, man. They were going to be talking, getting mad, and at the end of the day, you have LeBron James comes out here and he's talking about sounding off on the refs, blaming the refs, basically saying that it's the refs' fault. Oh, they missed a call. And I'm like, and he's going back to the 76ers. I'm like, why are you deflecting and going back and talking about a 76ers game that has nothing to do with what you all did? You all blew a 20-point lead instead of taking ownership and saying, hey, man, kudos to the Nuggets, man. They played great down the stretch. We didn't do enough to win the game. Take the responsibility as a leader. No, he deflects and I'm walking off. I'm mad. You should
you
be
know,
mad.
Joe, he's been walking off the court a lot, not just in playoff games, but a lot in the regular season. You've seen many games where he walks off the court pissed off, and there's still like 2 minutes, 3 minutes in the game, and he's going back to the locker rooms. I don't know, probably to rub one out before the players get back there. But I don't know, who knows what LeBron's thinking is. It's getting old already, man. It's getting really old, and you still have people trying to defend him. LeBron's doing all he can. You know what? The refs blew the call. You're starting to see people say Darvin Ham's responsible. At what point does it just become the quote unquote this era's goat's fault? I mean, can't blame Anthony Davis. You cannot blame D'Angelo Russell, who's the whipping boy right now. He's had two great games, D'Angelo Russell. So, I mean, at what point do you just say, you know what, LeBron, you are the problem? Because can I make a point? When LeBron was out of the lineup, the Lakers were playing like a whole different ball club and they were winning. So, am I the only one to say that LeBron is the problem in LA and just get rid of LeBron before Bronny comes in? You don't have to worry about drafting that kid.
Yeah. Yeah, look at Tim Gonzalez. It's the whole team to blame for the loss. He's not lying, man. And look
Hmm.
at what Matt Lerma says. Braun bricked the game-winning shot.
He
I'm
did.
just saying.
Yeah.
Yay. No lies detected here, man. You had a chance and you effed it up.
Yeah, he
You
did.
know?
If
And
you're supposedly that good, I mean, you know what? You're gonna miss more shots than you take. You're gonna make that, and especially in the especially in game-winning situations, Joe,
Yeah.
you're gonna miss a good amount of them. So, uh,
Sid the
it
Lion says Bronny's ass cheeks too.
yeah. Oh, man. Bronny is, yeah, that's a whole different show, man. If anybody drafts him if any GM drafts Bronny, you're guaranteed to get fired.
Yeah.
That's along the lines of Yinka Dare being picked, Michael Olowokandi #1. I mean, that's along the lines of a big time draft bust.
And look at this here. I'm gonna show this. This is Anthony Davis' response when they asked him what happened. Because he was guarding Jamal Murray. He's like, Jamal Murray made a shot, puts the microphone on the table and walks off.
Hey, man, kudos to Anthony Davis because
Oh,
that's the ideal answer. What happened? Well,
he
what the
made
fuck
a
do you
shot.
want me to say? I mean, oh, Jamal Murray went right. He did a step back. He shot it over me. No, basically, Jamal Murray hit a shot. Anybody else have a question? No, F off. I'm out.
He handled that better than LeBron, dude. Truthfully, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
I mean,
it was wild.
AD was basically said he hit a shot. I mean, I'm not blaming anybody. It either goes in or it doesn't. Big effing deal. But LeBron is like, well, the refs are, missing calls, and then they missed one in the Knicks game. And, I really wasn't wearing the right tampon in this game. So, these things are going wrong. He blames everything else except himself.
If you were a reporter there and you wanted to get banned for life, you should have said exactly what Matt Lerma said. Wemby would have blocked that.
Hey, but Anthony Davis is the best defender in the league, according to him.
Oh
So,
yeah, according to him, yeah, he is.
wow.
But while things were going on during this Lakers game, man, I'm gonna go ahead and show this on screen as well. We had the Nikola Jokic brothers, man, throwing hands in the stands, dude. Probably got somebody talking some major shit here. After round found out, got punched right in the face, dude. Man, Nikola Jokic brothers, they don't play, dude.
No. But at what point do you say enough's enough with the brothers, man? I mean, we're always talking shit about fans, approaching players and being physical, stuff like that. When you have, Jokic's brother, first off, what in the hell are they doing in the bottom bowl anyway? I mean, our isn't family most of the time supposed to sit in luxury suites and all that kind of stuff? I mean, even at Spurs games, Joe, they have that little luxury area in the lower bowl area.
Yeah, where you're kind of
So
sectioned off with the
yeah,
little glass divider and all that, the
exactly.
nice
It's
chairs. Yeah,
it's sectioned off, man. So it's like, what is Jokic's brothers doing, with us peasants in, the lower bowl part? I
yeah.
get not that at all.
I don't know, man, but you Nikola Jokic brothers they're something else, man. They're funny as hell, dude. It's like they're like the mafia.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with them at all, man.
Uh,
There's no way.
Look at Matt Lerma. I'm almost sure the Jokic brothers are connected. No doubt, dude. They got that look to them, man.
Hmm.
Like they're gonna shake you up for some cash, like Rocky did in the Rocky movies. Hey, man, you got that money?
Yeah. If I'm a reporter, I'm voting for Jokic every single time for MVP until he's out of the league. I don't want to pay. I don't really pay to visit by the Jokic brothers at all, man.
Oh, look at this. Jesse A says at least Nikola Jokic doesn't force his team to have his brothers on the team like Giannis.
Okay, man, the Nasa's Antetokounmpo, that is by far the worst basketball player I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, period.
Nikola Jokic,
No, I'm talking about Thanasis, Giannis's
the NASA.
brother. Yeah, I honestly, to me, Jack Haley, rest in peace. He's probably like
Oh,
Larry Bird compared to Thanasis. So I mean, yeah, he's just bad.
look at this, Sith. Vote for my brothers. I'll break your
Yeah,
kneecaps.
yeah. Basically, if he dies, he dies. I mean, that's all it kind of comes down to, like that, man.
Jeez, man. And then you had some. I don't know if it was controversial, but
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
argued
say,
a little bit about it. You and I here a little bit.
yeah. So you have the Knicks, and you had the 76ers. So we're gonna show this
Mhm.
the whole sequence here. I'm gonna just mute the audio. But this is the end of the game here, right? And
Yeah.
pay attention over here in the corner where Nick Nurse is at. He's over here.
Okay.
So this is the sequence that's going down.
Okay.
The final waning moments here of the game, final seconds here. And look at Nick Nurse. He's just standing there, dude.
Okay.
Standing there, standing there, standing there. Finally decides to call a timeout. Nobody's coming to his aid. I guess he wanted to
So
go ahead and call the timeout before they mobbed his guy,
yeah.
and the refs just kinda waved it off at the end.
So I'm gonna defend the refs here on this one. Now, in that kind of a moment, you're trying to inbound the ball. There was no official. Now you're supposed to have an official near the sideline. If you look closely, that official was on the far end of the court for whatever reason. I guess maybe a couple of players were down the court, so he had to be down there. But I can't blame them for missing that timeout for Nick Nurse. He was calling for it, but again, man, the refs are concentrating on the ball and on the play at hand, inbounding the ball. There was a ref out of place. I will give Nick Nurse the benefit of the doubt on that one, on that call right there.
And look at his comments, man. He says, I called a timeout. The referee looked right at me and ignored me. Tyrese Maxey got the ball. I called a timeout again. He ignored me again. And to his credit, I mean, he did call a timeout
The first time he
the
did,
first time. And you
yeah.
saw the ref looked at him,
Hmm.
but he was just letting the game or the play unfold, you know?
Yeah.
He was trying to save his guy because he's getting mobbed out there on the court. He's on the ground. He's trying
Hmm.
to call a timeout so they can go ahead and inbound the ball on the side, kind of save the possession, in other words.
Hmm.
But the ref just waved it off. Good call, bad call, in your opinion.
So the first part, like I said, when they were trying to inbound the ball after the basket, he called timeout. That was a missed call. Now, when the ball was brought inbound and he's still trying to call timeout, then it goes kind of to a situational play. Did Maxi have control of the ball long enough in order for a timeout to be called? Unless we can kind of get that camera angle, I don't know. But here's the thing, Joe. To me, it's not a missed call because I feel like if the refs are looking at the ball, he doesn't have possession, you cannot call timeout. You have to have possession in your hand and literal possession in order to call timeout. So I wasn't aware of, I couldn't tell if Maxi had possession or not. If he did it, there's no timeout. You can't call it. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, we don't have Jimenez here. He's like the standard of refereeing. So, uh,
No,
you
man.
know, yeah.
You don't want him refereeing your game, bro.
I
At least
know
you
if
can
I
let
saw him refereeing one of my kids' games, we'd be
yeah,
packing up and leaving. There's no way about that.
yeah, he would be getting cooked anyway. But either way, man, the Knicks, they got a 2-0 lead against the 76ers. Joel Embiid in shambles. 76ers fan base was in shambles.
Mhm.
Joel Embiid putting his head down, talking to reporters. Could tell he was bothered. And he's just saying, "Oh, we're going to still win this series, man. We're a better team. If you were a better team, you would have won these two damn games and you lost them. Even though they were close, you lost them." And the Lakers, they done, dude. I mean, losing in the Mile High City, you had an opportunity and you squandered it. 109 is the final score to 99. Nuggets over the Lakers by a Jamal Murray, you know, uh, jumper to end the game.
Mhm.
This series here, to me, in my opinion, Lakers done, 76ers, they done too.
Mhm.
What are your assumptions on this? You're agreeing or you're like, nah, they still got a chance?
I think the Lakers end up going. You know what? I'm gonna say conservatively 6 games that series that they lose in 6. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see them, end it in 5 games. Denver. I think Denver still wins the series no matter what. In the Knicks and 76ers, it's tough, man, because the Knicks do not have Julius Randle, and that's kind of huge. So they're going to go as far as Hardenstein kind of takes them. I think Tim Gonzalez asked who the Knicks' second best player is. It's supposed to be OG Anunoby, but Hardenstein is going to be the key guy for the Knicks. So as long as he keeps playing to where he can keep Joel, not necessarily shut him down, but just in check, I think the Knicks have a really good opportunity. It's going to be serious. If they come back 2-2 to New York, it's a whole different series, as we say. But give me the 76ers to win. I mean, I'm sorry, the Knicks to win. I think a lot of the air was just taken out of the 76ers last night.
I
You're
agree.
going to start seeing a lot of complaining from both the Lakers and 76ers when it comes to the refs. Don't get me wrong on something here. I think game 3 is going to fully go the Lakers and fully go the Sixers way, because when you see a lot of this bitching from players, you tend to see the refs start to side one team
Yeah.
more than the other. So in the end, I think the Knicks end up winning, and I think the Denver has it in the bag no matter what.
Yeah. I think LeBron whining is also going to put some eyes on the game. They're going to
Mhm.
have the officials out there, making some calls for the hometown
Mhm.
team. So the Lakers, I fully expect them to at least win one of the two games in
Yeah.
LA, but I think the Nuggets are just good of a team to lose 2 games back to back. Think the Lakers will win the first one at home, but they might drop the second one to the Nuggets and then coming back, and
Mhm.
that's about all she wrote. I mean, it's hard to play in the Mile High City because of the altitude. Teams get winded, you get tired, and I think that's what happened with the Lakers. I think the Lakers basically they just ran out of gas, and that's why they squandered the 20-point
Yeah.
lead.
It's I get the whole Mile High thing. It's tough to play in Denver. It really is, but can at what point, this is kind of stupid, I guess, in a way, but at what point can we say that that excuse is just already an excuse? A lot of these guys have played in Denver for so many years
I know.
already. I mean, year after year, you're going to go to Denver, you know how it is. So unless you're a rookie or maybe in your second year, I can't buy the whole, well, it's tough to play in Denver because you know what? I played there 20 years ago, LeBron. My very first game, it was tough, but I still have trouble with the altitude. If you still have that much trouble, maybe you shouldn't just play the damn game in Denver. Just sit out that night because I mean, there are some load management. But if you have to make excuses about using the altitude by players, I don't buy the BS anymore. Real quick before I get off, Joe, we need to do a poll because I want to know who's the worst ref. Is it Jimenez or Angel Hernandez? Chris Gonzalez brought it up. That's gotta be an absolute big time poll right there. Now I'm trying to wonder when Sis says Mike's whistle is always wet. I'm hoping it's the referee whistle and we're
Oh
not talking about
god,
something else
dude.
there.
You never know with these guys, man. But you know
Yeah.
what? We can go ahead and start that poll real quick. I'll go in here in the chat. Start the poll. Who's the worst ref, Jimenez or Angel? Angel Hernandez.
hmm That would be awesome. If you know what, I'm gonna say it's probably Angel in a landslide victory. But if Jimenez ends up getting like 17% of the vote, then yeah, he should be banned from refing.
Yeah.
Period.
I don't know. We'll see. Get the audio real quick, but let me go ahead and see if I can get in here.
Mhm.
There we go. I went ahead and put that.
Oh yeah, man, it's Fernandez brought up a good one with Doc Harvey. I mean that whole boxing match. I shout out to TikTok. I was able to watch it on TikTok
Oh
because
god, dude.
uh,
Not you too.
I'm a poor Mexican over here, so I mean I had to watch it on TikTok, but yeah, that boxing match was kind of crazy, man. It was kind of crazy there.
Oh, we talked a lot about it yesterday with my boy. Shout out to you, Fernandez,
Yeah.
coming in here, and John Dyer with Puro Exit 7, the edition, of the Alamo City Sportscast yesterday. We had
Mhm.
to keep it puro. We're too ethnic for Mike, so I can't have my boys on at the same time as Jimenez, because he'll probably be like, "Oh, I don't want to be on today. It's too ethnic for me."
What's okay? So I guess this is a good thing because I had a girlfriend that lives in the area of Marbach, but
Yeah,
I never was over there a lot. And I'll be honest, I never hung out at Marbach area a lot. So I was over there on the main streets of General McMullen and Culebra, St. Mary's University area. So what is the real like what's the culture in Marbach? Because I've heard everything from it's dangerous to it's just brutal ethnic. It's just everything. I mean, for me, dangerous is I can't walk to Culebra Meat Market across the street from my old house without playing Frogger in the street because I'm trying to dodge every freaking car and bus going through there, man.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's like that saying from Batman. Was it saying, You don't fear the dark because you were born in it." If you're
Mhm.
from here, no te pasa nada, dude. You don't give a damn. You go anywhere, can walk anywhere. If you haven't gotten a fight over here at the Taco Cabana, waiting in line or something, you ain't one of us, dude. You ain't one of us. Talk to my boy Fernandez, talk to my boy John
Mhm.
Dyer. They know what's up, So we're in the hood, bro. If you're from here, you
Mhm.
don't fear it, and it's just
Well,
like
yeah.
every
I
place.
mean, I don't mind. I would go walking, down Marbach or whatever. I don't care. Like I said, I mean, Culebra, John McMullen area, that's little Mexico, in my opinion. I mean, you live
Little
in there,
Mexico.
man. You grow up there. You can, what is it? Uh, rabies fears you if you living on Culebra, John McMullen, because you're immune to everything, man. But I
Yeah.
think Sid was asking if my girl at the time had a coup mullet. Now she don't have, is it a ka or a coup? What do you Marbach guys call it? I don't know what it is.
What the cuh?
Is it the ka? Okay, so it's
Yeah.
ka. Why don't
Marbach.
I say coup? I don't know.
You got
I'm
the
going.
Marbach, no quema, you know?
Yeah. Nah, see, I don't. I'm immune to a lot of that stuff now. I mean, I don't know. But
Yeah.
no, she didn't have that kind of haircut. I'm
No,
glad
man,
because
get the Marbach. Hey, we gotta make a bet. What if,
mm,
we make a bet for the NFL season or something like that, and whoever, has the lowest win total, uh, as far as us making bets and whatnot, seeing which team's gonna win on any given week, the loser has to get the Marbach. Maybe that's something we could do with Brandon Big Papi Medina, dude. I would love to see him
so
in the Marbach.
okay, so then run down the teams. Mine's the Falcons. We actually got better, so I'm good on that. Okay, you renounced the Cowboys, so you're a
Oh,
Texans.
Texans, I'm all in.
Okay, and then Jimenez is the Saints,
Yeah.
and Brandon is the Vikings.
Oh, pour
I'm
some
gonna,
out.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say Jimenez and Brandon might be fighting for who gets that haircut. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna finish dead last, but I'm not gonna finish first.
Yeah.
So I'm all for that. I'm all for that bet, man. And I think Christopher saying, every side of town is becoming the hood now. That's why I bolted that motherfucker because I am not gonna stay in San Antonio no more. Joe knows the stories where I used to live.
You got bum
Um,
fights in the backyard,
yeah,
dude,
so
man. Come on.
I made it very clear. My house before moving out here, we lived right behind Roy Moss Center on West Avenue, and when I'm talking, first off, the reason why I went down was because they put a Walmart on Vance Jackson.
Oh, there you go. It's
Any
Walmart's fault.
anytime a Walmart goes up, you're fucked because your neighborhood is just gonna get blasted with drugs, homeless, everything. So Vance Jackson I-10 area used to be great. A lot of old
Yeah,
people retired. It was a great neighborhood. They put up a Walmart, and holy shit, man, there's a bump for every, one house. There's 50 bums living out there, homeless people.
yeah.
I mean, you see, Vance Jackson has become the new Guadalupe and Cherry Street. I mean, that's why it's gotten bad, bro. It's gotten bad.
Yeah, look at Locked On Spurs today. Shout out to our boy, man, Jeff Garcia. He says our lows today with Rudy will be interesting for fans to talk about. So make sure you
Mhm.
go and check it out. You check out the new low. So we're at Jeff G Spurs Zone. You can go ahead and check that out on the X. And you can also check out Jeff and what he does for Los, your daily Spurs podcast, over on his YouTube channel as well. So we'll go ahead and give some love to Jeff real quick here.
It was very interesting that conversation. Very interesting. So yeah, definitely check that out, man.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/at Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Yeah, and like we're saying, man, go ahead and listen to the latest Locked On Spurs podcast with yours truly here, the one and only Rudy Campos. So that's going to be an interesting episode for sure. So make sure you go check that out. And I want to get into this too, man. I'm going to get your
Yeah.
opinion on this because I saw this on the X, and it's NBA Central was sharing this. ESPN's top 15 players in the postseason. Number one, they got the Joker. I'm not discounting that. He's a great player. Luka Doncic. I'm like, bro, what have the Mavericks done in the postseason, but besides lose? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Okay,
He's
okay,
gonna be your
number
MVP.
one.
I
Yeah,
have him as your MVP.
yeah. Joel Embiid. Okay, Kawhi Leonard. The
You gotta play
nephew.
a game. You gotta play a game first to be considered top 15.
Exactly. He's a part-time NBA player. He only wants to play in the playoffs, and even then, he don't play every damn game. Jason Tatum, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Tyrese Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell, and Bam Adebayo. Do you think they left anyone off this list?
That is a fantastic question because I personally have Donovan Mitchell way higher than 14th.
Yeah.
That's kind of the Kawhi Leonard thing, man. He's out for game one. I don't know if he's out for game two. I think, he's one of the best players in the league when playing, but He hasn't played a game yet, so I think Jamal Murray, Hanover Fist, if I had it right, Jamal Murray should be on that list, right there with a couple of other guys. I mean, it depends, man. I honestly, I don't know. Was Paolo Banchero on that list? I don't remember if
Oh
he
man, they
was.
don't have him on here.
So Paolo's another one that I kind of would maybe put ahead of a couple of guys on there. Very young kid. Why is it you and Jeff Garcia always make me talk about a Duke player? And even guys on my own show would maybe talk about a Duke player. That's shitty, man. But nonetheless, I mean, I think Murray needs to be on there. Paolo deserves a spot on there. Donovan Mitchell, who interesting, Joe. Uh, for guys that want to tune in on Friday for Sweep the League, Donovan Mitchell is going to be coming up on that show, and I'm going to hint as to why one of the topics you're going to mention later for the Spurs is
Nice.
crucial. So we'll get into that a little. We're kind of teasing it. What do the kids call it? Foreshadowing? I know we called it
Yeah.
foreshadowing back then. Is there any future thing that they call the kids these days? I mean, is it still foreshadowing? They haven't changed the English language for that word?
Nah, man. I
Okay.
look at this. He put Joe Texas just dropped the new unis, and man, they heat. I saw him, dude. Our good boy Pledger, man, James Pledger. He had put him out. He had put it out on the X. I saw that. I'm digging it, man. I'm here for it. I like it, dude. They look tough, man.
Yeah. They
But
do.
yeah, we'll go ahead and tune in, to sweep the league on Friday and see what Rudy has to say about one Donovan Mitchell. And speaking of something that we got to say,
Mhm.
look at this that dropped down. This had Spurs Twitter in shambles here. Spurs fans talking amongst themselves, feeling a little disheartened,
I
The
wonder why.
Spurs reportedly don't see Trey Young as a fit with Victor Wembanyama per basketball talk. Our- and it says league sources have told NBC Sports not to bet on that happening as San Antonio doesn't see Young as a fit with Wembanyama. Going forward, the Spurs might be more interested in the Hawks' DeJounte Murray if he's available. Say it ain't so, Rudy.
It is so. I mean, just plain and simple, Jamal Murray hit a shot. That's basically what I'm gonna say right there. It is true, man. So the Trey Young bit, let me put it this way. How many times in Spurs history has a Spurs front office said something and it's totally the opposite? I mean, they don't just come out and say certain stuff. They don't always leak their business. I still say that if for those that want Trey Young, it's still technically possible for Trey to come to San Antonio, but to me, there's better options. If you're going to move on from draft picks, there's way better options than Trey Young out there. And there's going to be a lot of other guys that are going to be worthy of getting, what the Spurs want to offer. So that's kind of where the Donovan Mitchell thing comes in. Joe is, I believe Trey's on the move. I believe the Spurs will be a part of the Trey Young deal. But if you remember in the past week or so, Atlanta did make it clear that if they were to move Trey Young, they would need a third team. Hence the triangle of terror, the Spurs, the Hawks, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's where I'm kind of seeing this whole Trey Young bit being played out.
Look at this, Chris Gonzalez. Remember, we are not supposed to trust what they say. The Jimenez rule, number 31.
But y'all people believe what Jimenez says sometimes. So I mean,
They do.
it's kind of, you know, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Look at what Tavares said. This is a good point here. He says Brian Wright wants to build through the draft better job security. Oh man, the thing is that I know Spurs fans were enamored with the idea of Trey Young playing alongside Wemby. I wouldn't be mad at it. I'd be okay. You're
Mhm.
not going to get any defense out of Trey, but you know what? This team isn't very good defensively anyway. So are you really losing anything? Not really. But what you're going to gain is somebody who can put up buckets alongside Wemby. I'm here for that. But at the end of the day, I think what it boils down to is the asking price for one Trey Young is going to be quite high. You're going to have to say goodbye probably to Devin Vassell. You're
Mhm.
probably going to have to get rid of Keldon Johnson. Some of these picks, you're going to have to go ahead and give them back to the Hawks. I mean, they're going to want something in return for one Trey Young. And I think with the Spurs right now, they're probably going to see where the ping pong balls fall for them
Mhm.
via the NBA draft, the upcoming NBA
So
draft.
so do you want me to give you an exclusive right now?
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
man.
so this is what I was gonna do on Friday. We'll share it here. Let
Okay.
me share the screen and you can share it out to everybody.
Yeah.
This was the ideal trade that I was working on, and I talked to a couple of people. We were thinking now this is probably what it'll look like. So you mentioned Devin Vassell, and unfortunately, he would have to be a part of it. So this is what I'm looking at, something like this right here. And you've got, so you got a 3-team trade. Obviously, like I said, the Hawks need to get a third team involved, is what they were saying. So you would have Trae
Yep.
Young going to Cleveland. And that kind of solves their Mitchell for Cleveland thing. You have Mitchell coming to San Antonio. Then you have the Spurs trading both Devin and Devontae. Their first rounder this year, their first rounder next year. Not the Hawks, but the Spurs' own first rounder this year and next year. Us giving away and the Cavs also sending this year's first to the Hawks. Now that makes their rebuild a little bit better for Atlanta. You still get a scorer with Devin. You pair him back up with DeJounte Murray. But this is the key. That first round pick this year or next year, the Spurs are going to have to make it. You can't give back-to-back first rounders in the NBA. So the Spurs are probably going to make the pick for the Hawks, trade it away. This is just, again, my opinion here. But this makes sense for all 3 teams all the way around. The Hawks get a rebuild. They get started on a rebuild with Devin and DeJounte. They get multiple first-round picks this coming draft. They'll have the Spurs. They'll have their own, I believe. And then they have Cleveland's as well. They're going to get another pick going into next year. They kind of get their pick back next year. Why does it make sense for the Spurs, Joe? Because if you're getting a Donovan Mitchell, he's way better than any player you're going to draft this season in this NBA draft. Now, you're thinking 2025, what the hell, Cooper Flag? You still have Atlanta's pick. Atlanta's probably going to be a lottery team no matter what. But what does that do for the Spurs 2025 pick? You have enough in your bones to feel that a Donovan Mitchell, Victor Wembanyama-led team can lead them to at least a play-in spot. So you're not going to have your own lottery pick if that happens. Again, you still have a lottery pick going to the Spurs from Atlanta, but you're giving up your own because you're betting that you're going to be way better than you would be going into 2025. So you're not losing anything.
Yeah.
For
Sam
me, this
Salinas
is a
has a question.
win-win Spurs for the Spurs right here.
Yeah. Sam Salinas says, great, but how does the Atlanta 2025 first round we own play out then?
So remember, the 2025 Atlanta Hawks pick is unprotected. You're betting that the Hawks are going to be a lottery team. If they lose Trae Young and all they have is DeJounte Murray and Devin Vassell, we saw what a Vassell DeJounte Murray team looks like, that kind of a backcourt. It's not playoff bound. They don't have anybody else in Atlanta that's going to help them get to the playoffs. So that's where I'm saying you're at all costs, you're giving away your own pick in 2025 because, like I said, you're betting on Mitchell and you're betting on Wembanyama to at least get you to that play in, which I really believe they can. That kind of combination right there. But that 2025 Atlanta Hawk pick stays with you. So Atlanta's still getting a first round pick. They're just not getting that high lottery pick. That's the key. That's the whole key right there. So to make it a little bit more clearer is the Spurs or the Cavaliers are going to have to give up more draft picks. These are just the essential draft picks, but you're going to see more picks going Atlanta's way because they're going to need to rebuild somehow. And I think this is a good way for the Hawks to be in rebuild mode. Not only that, it frees up so much cap space because you're sending Trae Young, who's at $43 million, man. So that
Christopher Leha, dude. He says Spurs play better without Devin, Keldon, and Jeremy.
well, no, let me go a little bit into this here. Is the fact that by doing this move, it makes total sense. And people are gonna probably kill me for this, but it makes total sense on two ways. You can go out and get you a shooter, as in Klay Thompson, for real cheap. It makes it more ideal for him to want to come to a Mitchell Wembanyama squad. So you kind of get him on the cheap, but you don't sign him for more than 2 years. Team option second year. Why? Because you still have 2025 to come up here. You've got Victor on a rookie contract. You get rid of $29 million. You're only bringing back. In fact, you're not even bringing back anything. You still have the same amount of cap space, Joe. I mean, you're bringing in Mitchell at $35 million for 2 years, on each year for the next 2 years. You can re-sign Mitchell. Plus, you can also go out and get you one of the key free agents in 2025. So this is why I feel this is a good setup here. The key pick is the Hawks pick next year. That's the key pick. If you have to give that up, then maybe you give that up.
Yeah, and that's what Sam Salinas was asking. Do you give that back? And you just answered that right there. And
Yeah.
Fifth, man, he's cooking in the chat right now. He says, Matt, if we want to make moves, he needs to be part of the trade. And he's talking about Devin Vassell. I'd take Mitchell over Vassell any day and twice on your birthday. Man, y'all can't even leave Matt alone on the birthday, dude. Come on, man.
And I guess the ideal part is take out Devin. And I also did another one where you take out Devin and you put Keldon in. It still works out. But again, if you're Atlanta, do you want Keldon? Do you want Devin? Devin has the higher ceiling still over Keldon Johnson. So either one of those guys may have to be involved. I'm saying it's probably going to be Devin because if you're giving up an all-star, you want someone who can potentially be an all-star. Not saying he will be, but the potential of being one. So that's why Devin probably makes the most sense right there.
And look at what the Tavares says. Dude, no one wants Keldon.
Keldon makes a lot of sense coming off of the bench for the San Antonio Spurs. I like his energy. He brings a lot to the table when he comes off the bench. I love the bench moves. That's the reason why I'm thinking Keldon stays.
Look at this. Leha says, fan favorites is a bullshit thing to say when you want to be part of the team to the
It's
team
a
and still.
It's a business, man. I mean, once people treat their teams like a business the way it's supposed to be, just don't tie yourself to a player, man. That's as simple as that.
Yeah,
I've said it many times. It's a
look at
business.
Matt Lerma's not lying, dude. And we just said this right now too. It says he says, I'm pretty sure the reason the Spurs don't want Trey is because the asking price is Devin. There's no
Yeah,
lie detected in that, dude.
I
We've
would
already said
rather, yeah, and I would rather take if you're gonna move Devin, I'd rather get Donovan Mitchell because you're still getting a better defender, you're getting a scorer, and he can also play the point guard position. So it solves so many problems that the Spurs saw last year.
yeah. Tavarius was saying that, Donovan Mitchell doesn't want to be the second fiddle. He wants to be
Mhm.
the guy. He wants to be the Batman. He don't want to play the Robin role.
Hey, Batman and Superman can coexist on the Justice League. So I mean, you can have two alphas on one team. It's easy as that.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I knew it was going to get a reaction from Spurs fans,
Well, I
because
would try to save it for Friday, but I'm going to
yeah,
do it now, and we can talk about it with Derek and everybody on Friday, hopefully. But if not, we'll still talk about it more on Friday.
we're going to get into deeper when we go ahead and go on sweep the league on Friday.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying, man, I knew this was going to hit a nerve with Spurs fans because they have
You, you
delusions
had
of grandeur, you
you
know?
had no idea I was bringing that. Like this
No.
was all total shock for Joe. This is like
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny because Spurs fans always believe that, oh, we're going to get this player, they're going to get this, they're going to make some moves. But at the end of the day, you all have to understand how making trades work. It's easy to say you can easily trade for this player, you can easily go get this player, but that's not the way things work when you're talking about NBA trades.
Mhm.
You have to have the numbers line up, and that's the one thing that I always try to tell people that really aren't adept to knowing how the trades work in the NBA. That's why you have to get third teams involved at times, because
Mhm.
you have to have somebody assume that cap hit,
Mhm.
and that way they can go ahead and get that said player. And usually what happens, like the Spurs, sometimes they get draft picks and then they just waive them. You
Yeah.
know, they take that cap hit and they just waive them. I mean, it's not like they're doing any other team's favors. They're getting something in return, whether it be draft capital, in this case. So, I
Mhm.
mean, you gotta know how the numbers work, man. Trades are always great in theory, but until you actually see them work out and pan out, you're like, oh, why didn't I know I had to lose that player too? You got to do what you got to do to make the numbers line up.
And
I don't make the rules.
Tavarius is bringing up a good point because I've seen him a couple times say they need an MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. type
He's
player.
not lying,
And
dude. You need a bucket.
and this is where I was telling you earlier about the cap space because you're essentially giving up the same amount of money in contracts to where you still free yourself for 2025. There's a player in 2025 that I've been screaming to be on the Spurs for a very long time. They almost traded for him back in I think the DeMar type move or something. It was somewhere around that time, and that's Larry Markkinen out of Utah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's going to be a free agent in 2025. He's going to be one of the big names. I mean, you're talking guys like LeBron and Giannis and all these guys that are being free agents 2025. But I mean, Larry Markkinen is the type of player that could fit alongside a Donovan Mitchell, Victor Wembanyama type team. And that's where I'm feeling that
Yeah.
you still keep the cap space. That's the problem. I mean, come on, Spurs. I mean, give me a call. I can help Brian Wright as much as I can. Just give me season tickets or something.
He don't wanna hear that, man. He likes the team. You know what the motto is, "We like the team we have." You
Yeah.
know? They
Yeah.
run it back. We're gonna run it back again and do nothing, like the Cowboys. We all in, and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I hate that kinda shit, dude.
But that's why you
Mm,
sign I say that's why you sign Clay. If that happens and can get Clay for just 2 years, but make it a team
yeah.
option. So you just have him as a 1-year type of rental,
Rental.
basically. Yeah.
Look at what Sid says, "Mitchell, Wemby, and Clay get us in the play-in." Probably does. I don't know if it'll be good enough to win, but it'll get you there.
I'd say top 7. So in the play-in tournament, at least top 7. I think that kind of team gets in there.
Yeah.
Because
So
the West is imploding. I mean, you're gonna have Phoenix is probably gonna implode. I mean, they're gonna probably have to give up one of those guys in the
yeah.
offseason. The Lakers, there's a good chance, we have no idea what the Lakers are gonna do, especially if they get bounced in the first round. That's another team that could implode.
Words on the street, they're gonna go welcome Darvin Ham back for coaching another season with the Lakers if they implode in the first round, you know?
The Clippers are gonna implode. Paul George does not want to be there beyond this season. So you've got teams that are gonna be regressing, and a Mitchell, Wemby, Clay type squad, that's gonna be an improvement. So that's why I say maybe 7 positions at the best.
Yeah, but you'd have to say goodbye to some fan favorites, like they say,
You
you
gotta
know?
you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs, man. It's as
Exactly.
simple as that.
So let's go ahead and show this on screen, man. I know that Jeff Garcia had tweeted this out here,
Mhm.
and he's putting, this is the first look at Victor Wembanyama's Funko Pop. And I had tweeted this out yesterday as well. And the only thing that I don't like about this Funko Pop is why didn't they make him taller, dude? Like all the
Should
Funko
be one
Pops.
of the big ones, right? That
Yeah, this is like a tiny little Funko Pop. It's like it don't even look like him. Like if they would have made him longer, like true to life, he would have been towering over all the other Funko Pops. This was a miss, in my opinion. Am I gonna buy it? Probably. They got me. It has Victor Wembanyama on it. I'll probably buy the damn thing. But they should have made it taller, man. I mean, come on, Rudy. I mean, what do you think?
I am 100% with you on the making it taller part. I mean, he's the tallest guy in the NBA, 7'4". He should have had one of the extra large pop type things. I think that would have been cool. But honestly, Joe, I haven't bought a Funko Pop in a long time. I think I bought one for my daughter at the last Comic Con that they had. But for me, I haven't bought anymore. So, not saying I wouldn't buy it, but here's an idea, man. You sitting right behind you is a 3D printer. Why in the hell are you not making a version of Funko Pops and calling them something else? Because
How do you know I haven't already?
well,
The funny thing is, I've already have a prototype of a Manu Ginobili Funko Pop that I'm gonna be producing here as a giveaway, and I'm gonna try to make it as big as I can on these 2, 3D printers, man. So I
mhm.
have a little thing that I did, just like a
Man,
prototype. Hold on.
we're doing a lot of exclusive stuff on Mike's show, man. Y'all may not want Mike to come back. All
So
these
this is
exclusives.
version number 1 here of the Manu Ginobili Funko Pop that I
Oh
made.
wow.
So I was just testing this
See,
model out because I
you
have
got the
to
hair though.
dimensions.
Like you
Huh?
got the hair. That's a thing in the back. Every Funko Pop is the same damn, design,
Oh, he's
man.
got the wavy locks, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every Funko Pop is the same design. Like,
Yeah.
we
He's
get
even got the
crazy.
cape, the little flag that he had on. He's got the little, the trophy and everything. So
Nice.
I'm getting it down. I'm getting it down. It's getting closer, but I'm gonna make it a lot bigger, and then give that out
Mhm.
as a gift, because we can't sell these things. We can just go ahead and gift them, you know?
Yeah, Fernandez is right. Him and who? Yeah, that's why I said I don't know if they want Jimenez back now, man.
Hey, we need those shirts. Print them out, Bear County.
Bear
Print them
County,
out.
him and who?
He man who? I think Fernandez just coined a new phrase, dude. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that. That's not to scale.
No, definitely not, man. It's probably
Oh,
the size
God.
of Victor's big toe, from what we understand.
They said it looks like Jordan Poole. Oh my God. Well, you ain't getting no damn Manu Ginobili Funko Pop then, Sith.
I think he's talking about the Wimby pop, not yours.
Happy Papa. Okay. Look at what he says. I'm gonna need a Sith Funko Joe. I don't know, man. I like that one meme that they have with Sith going around with King Vitamin, and they have
Mhm.
his face on it. You remember King Vitamin from back in the day? I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah. Well, it was the King Vitamin, wasn't that was the corner store version of Captain Crunch?
Yeah, Captain Crunch,
Yeah,
the King
that's what I was.
Vitamin with the old man that looked like Ray Feo on the cover,
Oh
on the
my god.
box.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
that milk though was no joke, bro. You take a sip of that, you just get diabetes.
Yeah, man. A lot of cereals back then for
Woo!
straight diabetes. Wasn't the original Coke just nothing but pure sugar cane or sugar?
Yeah, it was like
I don't
sugar.
know what it
It was
was.
they made it with a little bit of cocoa, the coca leaf or something like that. You know what they do with that? I mean, come on. Saca la bolsita, you know?
Yeah, we don't need that kind of talk here
Yeah,
because I don't want anybody busting in my house right now or
busting
anything
down
like
the doors.
that. Yeah, don't need anything like that.
So let's talk about this, man. This is one thing that I
Mm,
saw here, and I was looking at this, and was getting your opinion too before we started the show.
okay.
JJ Redick, two Hornets. It says coaching buzz or bust. It's reported that the Hornets are going to interview former NBA player and current ESPN analyst JJ Redick for their head coaching vacancy.
Mhm.
What resume does he have that warrants him getting an interview to become a coach?
He doesn't have a resume. I mean, he's never coached in the league. He's never been an assistant coach. So I would say that, um, yeah, King Vitamin. Uh, honestly, Joe, I think it's just doing due diligence. It's just being reported that he's going to interview for the job. Don't take too much into it. If he gets an opportunity, he gets an opportunity. But if his coaching is as good as his takes are, that team's going to be terrible for years and years to come.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's warranted even getting an interview at this point. I mean, other than just him being a former player, you think this is going to be a thing like it's going to be happening like Steve Nash, you know?
Nah, I mean the Steve Nash debacle. I don't know if that was more on Nash or if it was more on the players that he had. Because players today, man, they tune out a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches. They don't really give a shit who you are. I mean, you look at Steve Kerr and the Draymond stuff. I mean, they tune out some of the best coaches in the league, and it's pretty sad that today's players do that. So JJ Redick, I mean, I've coached AAU basketball, so I've got more experience than JJ Redick. So I
I don't
probably
know.
should.
Look at what Matt Lerma says. He says JJ Redick, he coaches his daughter's youth team.
You know what? Again, if that's all that it required to apply for a head coaching position, then I will gladly put my hat into the Charlotte Hornets bowl there and see if I can get a coaching gig.
Sith, it's because he's a handsome white man. Damn, bro. Why does Sith always got to make shit weird, dude? He's just like Mike, bro. Always like Mike, man.
He's
I
also a
mean,
Duke Blue Devil, which makes him
oh,
shit. So,
there you go. That says it all, man. That
yeah,
says it all. And look, Tavares says privileged. Exactly, bro. That's what I'm getting at, man. It's like, does he deserve it though? But
wow.
speaking of people that deserve some flowers, Rudy, we got to talk about this next one that I know is near and dear to your heart. Are you going to be nice, Rudy? Are you going to be nice to your
Until
boy,
you brought it up, so now I'm gonna be
Matt Ryan? Are you going to give him his flowers? Your dude, man.
nice.
15 years in the NFL. I know how you feel about him and the Super Bowl. That wasn't. Have you
well,
forgiven Matt Ryan?
well, I don't think I've forgiven Matt Ryan. I haven't forgiven anyone from that Falcon squad for blowing that lead, but
You ain't been the same since.
I have not been the same. I was so depressed. I've lost, almost 300 pounds. So I mean, I still don't want to eat as I'm here eating an M&M pack.
Oh, yeah.
My I'll say this: it was a remarkable career for Matt Ryan. I've had more great times, good times, fun times, watching Matt Ryan play, with the exception of that one Super Bowl game. He's an MVP. He's an offensive player of the year. He's a offensive rookie player of the year. Um, is he Hall of Fame bound? Yes, he's Hall of Fame worthy, in my opinion. It's going to take him a little while to get in there. I believe he's not first ballot, but I say thank you, Matt Ryan, for everything you did for Atlanta, with the exception of the Super Bowl win. I will forgive you eventually for that, but until then, I'll let you ride off in the sunset. That's been as nice as I could, Joe.
Well, look at man. I mean, look at his accolades, Rudy. You gonna read those off for us?
I just did. I mean, I just did.
Yeah.
MVP, Offensive Player, 4-time Pro Bowler, first-time All-Team Pro, 15 seasons. At the bottom, it says his jersey not owned by Rudy Campos because I don't own a Matt Ryan
Oh, come
jersey.
on, Rudy.
I don't.
That's
I
your
don't.
team, man. You were all Falcons when we're in the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, I was. I'm
You
sorry.
were in the Matt Ryan jersey, I bet, and
And
everything.
no, and that one I was actually wearing my Tony Gonzalez Atlanta Falcon jersey.
Okay. Oh man, what a throwback, dude.
Hmm.
Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Forgot about him, dude. Good you brought him up. Hey, but we're gonna go ahead and give Matt Ryan his roses and wish him happy retirement. They do have pictures of him going back to the Falcons, and for just one day, I guess, to go ahead and sign a 1 day contract and finally officially end his career where it started. He's gonna end it as a Falcon. So good on them, good on the Falcons for doing that. They did him a solid, for all the years that he gave them. So we're going to talk about this as well. NFL breaking news here. When you thought the Broncos couldn't get any worse, man, they go and they surprise us all. So the Jets are trading quarterback Zach Wilson
Hmm.
to the Broncos. What do you got to say about this, man?
Um, Congratulations, Denver. You still suck, or we suck again. However you want to say it.
Is this
And
is this Denver saying that they're going to be team tank this season?
no, Denver's going to get a quarterback in this NFL draft. There's a good amount of quarterbacks that can help Denver right away. This was more of a So the easiest way to put it, and probably the best way to put it, is this was more of a we still have hope for Zach Wilson with Denver because with Sean Payton there, Sean Payton is a pretty good quarterback coach. So they're getting basically, I mean, the trade, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Denver got him like very cheap. And when I say cheap, I mean he's owed $5 million. They're only going to pay him 2.5. The Jets are responsible for the other 2.5. So I mean, you're basically getting for nothing. Is he an upgrade over what they have? I mean, you're talking about Jared Stidham right now as their starting quarterback. Then you have Ben DiNucci, former Cowboy, great Ben DiNucci
Hey,
there.
you say his name right,
Yeah,
Danucci.
DiNucci. So out of those three guys, I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't trust them in a flag football game, to be honest with you. But if it's for me right now, I think they can get the most out of Zach Wilson. I fully believe they're going to end up drafting a quarterback in this draft. There's no way that they don't.
So what? Zach Wilson's just going to be a backup QB sitting on the bench just in case.
I'm going to go on a limb for the Broncos fans out there. I think Zach Wilson is a starter for the Broncos this year. For how long, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say, but we've seen players go from one team to another, and their career is shot up. So, um, who knows, man? I mean, you can't get any lower than on the floor like Zach Wilson is. I mean, he's like, what is it? David Hasselhoff when he was on the floor that one time, drunk off his ass eating whatever the hell he was eating. So you can't get any lower than that. That's kind of where Zach Wilson is.
Hey man, I love this video by the way here. We're going to talk about this right now. This is Robert Griffin the third, man, and they do this great bit, dude.
Mhm.
Let's listen to just a couple seconds or a couple minutes of it, a minute or two.
Yeah.
Next up in our Dragon Ball Z Times NFL Draft project, we got Bo Nix, the quarterback from Oregon. And that's right, he's Android 16 because he plays with machine-like efficiency.
Did you hear that, dude? He says Bo Nix, he's comparing him to Android 16 from Dragon Ball Z, dude. That shit it's fire, dude. I love it. I love it. He's saying that Bo Nix is the most efficient quarterback in this NFL draft class and a
Mhm.
machine like in his execution, just like Android 16. You buying this, Rudy?
Yes, 100%.
There you go.
Bo Nix he's actually my top rated quarterback in this NFL draft. So I believe, wherever Bo goes, and I think we're going to put up a little mock that I've done here, my final mock draft for the week here. Bo Nix is number one rated quarterback for me. He's actually 1A to, people might be surprised, 1A to Spencer Rattler being 1B. Both guys I think are going to have good careers in the NFL, depending on where they go. So Robert Griffin's right. I mean, Bo Nix definitely was the Android A116. I mean, definitely, he's a beast, man. He's a beast.
I like that, dude. You know what? Maybe that's something we should do, compare the Spurs players or other players in the NBA, should we say, to what would their likeness be if they were Dragon Ball Z,
I mean,
character.
what is Go is Super God Saiyan Goku something? I
Yeah,
haven't.
Super
I lost
Saiyan,
track, man.
God mode, all this stuff, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we need to look into, man. Maybe we'll go ahead and get the Hefe on here since he's really big into Dragon Ball Z, like me
Mhm.
myself, and you know a little bit about it as well. So I think that's a good kind of shtick that we should go for.
I like what Mario Cavazza says. The problem with Zach Wilson is tiene cara de papa potato face. That's
Wow, bro,
that's
cara de papa. I never heard that.
that is
Man.
that's
Hey,
awesome.
we always get some first here on the show, dude. These
Mhm,
our listeners here, they're just insane, man. But we're about 2 days away from the NFL draft, Rudy. It's
mhm.
coming. So, we gotta go ahead and talk about a little bit about the NFL draft. I mean, we have some mock drafts that have been popping off here and there, over the last couple days here. So, let's go ahead and show this on screen.
There you go, man. This is my final mock draft going into Thursday. Just a quick shout out. I'll be recording with Sports Insanity Network tonight doing NFL mock draft stuff. So look for that to come out here very soon. But as we can go down the list, man, I mean, right now, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, Drake May, that's kind of where I'm seeing these guys going. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think is Arizona. I think the first trade you're going to be making is Minnesota. And they're going to obviously need a quarterback. I feel like Minnesota shouldn't have to trade out from 11 and 23. But I think they're desperate to make sure no one gets JJ McCarthy, i.e., the New York Football Giants, which I don't see them doing. I think they trade out. They trade up with San Diego. I'm not San Diego. Los Angeles Chargers, giving them the 11 and 23rd pick, getting JJ McCarthy. But I mean, this is where I was coming in, Joe. I felt like the Broncos were trading down with Buffalo at 12 because Buffalo needs a receiver. I think they're going to be desperate to move up into the draft. I have them taking Brian Thomas Jr. Broncos trade back, get some extra draft picks later on in this draft. But sitting at number 28, they're able to still get Bo Nix. So that's where I'm feeling that Bo Nix goes to the Broncos. Michael Penix Jr. is still going to be there. Spencer Rattler is going to be junior. But this is the latest mock draft that I have right now. And I love it because I'm seeing a lot of the comments. Let me go on a little Brock Bowers, stick here. Brock Bowers, it's so hard to trust a tight end in the league because go back to the Kyle Pitts. I know the Kyle Pitts thing going right now with Atlanta. Brock Bowers is a hybrid tight end. Love it. Great. He can block. He's a great blocker, great run blocker. He's a pass catching MFer. He's gonna be a great talent. But in that first part of the draft, he's really not needed anywhere there. There are bigger positions that need to be filled in that first part of the draft. So that's why I'm feeling a lot of these guys might be dropping here, with Brock Bowers being one of them. He's going to be a first round pick. If anybody does move up to get him, it's probably going to be through a trade. But I do feel Brock Bowers is probably going to end up dropping to the latter part of the first round. Any guys on here you want to talk about, Joe? Obviously, your Cowboys, I have them getting an offensive lineman in Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma.
You don't think they're gonna go after a tackle? They need a tackle.
They need line help. Period. I think they're going to go with the best line person possibly. I mean, you still have. You may see maybe a Graham Barton drop to them. Probably Jackson Powers Johnson maybe might drop to them. But with Jackson Powers Johnson and Graham Barton, one of them is going to go to Pittsburgh. I just think they're going to take the best offensive lineman available at that time. Look for them to maybe trade down. You still have the kid Paris out of Houston. You got Jordan Morgan, who obviously I have drafting at the last part of the round from Arizona. There's a lot of different things the Cowboys can do. Essentially they should trade down to get more draft picks though.
Yeah, what about the kid Kool-Aid, man? Where do you have him going?
So Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's a really big name amongst a lot of people in mock drafts, but I actually have him as a second rounder. There's a lot of
Ooh.
cornerbacks going right now. My favorite and best quarterback is Quinton Mitchell out of Toledo. He has going to number 15 to the Indianapolis Colts. You also have Terrion Arnold. I have him go. Terrion Arnold. I have him going to the Raiders at number 13. There's a lot of different guys at cornerback that I like. Cooper DeJean is another option there. He's listed as a safety, but he can play cornerback as well. But Kool-Aid McKinstry, I have him as a second rounder right now.
Okay. What do you think of course, we got to talk about the Vikings because our good friend Brandon Big Papi Medina is a big, humongous Vikings fan.
Mhm.
What do you think they're going to wind up doing? Some mock drafts have them taking an edge defender. Or what do you think they're going to do?
So the Vikings don't move up in the draft. They're probably going to end up going with the QB at 11, whether it be possibly Bo Nix, whether it possibly be. And the other thing too, Joe, is I really feel like they don't have to trade because JJ McCarthy, if he's the guy that they want, is going to be there at 11. There's no one saying that the Giants are going to take a quarterback at number 6. They have a bigger need to fill, and that's wide receiver. So when you're staring down the barrel of Roma Dunze, of Malik Neighbors, even of Brian Thomas Jr., the Giants are going to get as much help as they can for Daniel Jones, knowing that this is Daniel Jones' last ride for the Giants. So if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I'm kind of staying put. I'm just kind of worrying if another team below me is trading up, possibly, the Raiders. They could be in the quarterback discussions. Really, outside of that, Joe, there's nobody else that needs a quarterback. So stay where you are. Get a Michael Penix, maybe get a Bo Nix. I mean, they're going to be there. Keep your 23rd pick. Get another player. But in this kind of thing, I think they're going to panic. Last I heard, Atlanta is trying to take advantage of Minnesota and maybe getting their 11th and 23rd for Atlanta's 8th. I think that's a little too much. I think just another 8 for 11th and some other draft picks would be good. But for Brandon out there, they're probably going to look at quarterback, obviously. I just feel like if they trade up, it's going to probably be within the top 5.
Okay. What about this talk about, they've been always talking about Caleb Williams going number 1. Do you think that the Bears in fact are sold on Caleb Williams?
They have to be. I mean, they literally have to be sold on Caleb Williams. I understand the Justin Fields trade. They should have never made it. You built a team around Justin Fields in the offseason. You added Swift, you added Keenan Allen. You've already had DJ Moore. Cole Kmet has proven to be a great tight end for the Chicago Bears. They were upgrading their offensive line. Everything was set for Justin Fields to have a successful year. You move on from Justin Fields. So now you're almost pressured to take Caleb Williams. And that's kind of sad because I don't have Caleb Williams. In fact, if I had to put a grade on Caleb Williams, I have him as a 3rd or 4th round pick, Joe. I mean, Caleb Williams is not the guy. He doesn't have the mindset to play in the NFL level. He's got the talent, but talent can only get you so far. Is he Michael Vick talent? No, he's not Michael Vick talent. Is he Lamar Jackson talent? Well, shit, if he's not Michael Vick talent, what makes you think he's Lamar Jackson talent? He's nowhere near that at this time when his NFL going into his NFL career. So if I'm the Bears, I might be wanting to trade down to get another quarterback, but to get a lot more draft picks. But essentially, everything points to them taking Caleb Williams now. I think they're buying into the hype around Caleb Williams. And again, I just don't buy it, but I think they're forced to kind of take Caleb Williams at this point.
And we got a question here from Matt Lerma. He says, because he's a reformed Seahawks fan.
Okay.
He went ahead and let the X decide what team he's going to root for this season. So he's asking thoughts on Seahawks and what they're going to do in the draft.
So I have the Seahawks taking Marius Mims from Georgia at number 16. What I like about the Seahawks is they're kind of already good at every position, and they're not great at certain positions. They're good at a lot of them. You've got Geno Smith, who's had a revitalization in Seattle, but the key point to that was they were able to trade for Sam Howell, who's going to be a good backup and kind of that predecessor to Geno Smith. You got Kenneth Walker the third, and Zach Carbonet at the running back position, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. You got your trio of receivers right there. Jake Bobo is another guy who's a receiver for Seattle that is making a lot of strides. He's going to be, if you guys can remember that Julian Edelman, Wes Welker type player, that's who Jake Bobo is going to be for Seattle. They could use an upgrade at position. I wouldn't mind them maybe taking a Brock Bowers at that point. That's one position I could see them going for. Charles Cross, they've got Tomlinson Harris, I believe, there on the offensive line. They really could use an upgrade on that offensive line. That's why I have them taking a Marius Mims, kind of give them that anchor that they're going to need alongside Charles Cross. Their defense, Matt, I mean, good. You got Devin Witherspoon. You got Woolen. I mean, you've got a lot of great guys. Leonard Williams is there as well. So look for them to draft a little more on the defensive side going into the second, third, fourth rounds, second and third day of the NFL draft. But I think that you really need to go with the Marius Mims or any offensive tackle just to kind of bolster that line to give the offense the boost that they need.
Yeah, one thing that I just saw, coming in, looking at the X and whatnot, is
Mhm,
that they went ahead and I saw they announced that the Chiefs have extended one Andy Reid all the way up, I believe, until the 2029 season.
mhm,
Right now, Andy Reid's 66 years of age. That'll put him closer to the 70, years of age
mhm.
at the time the contract fully comes to an end at this point. Do you think this is going to be the last contract his uh, of his career, or is you think he's going to stick around maybe for another year or so?
So I believe they locked him up for a good amount of time, but if we're being frank about it, I don't expect Andy to finish that contract out. I think he retires way before then. He's got his titles, man. He's going down as one of the greatest coaches of all time. He can thank Patrick Mahomes for that, but the at the end of the day, he's going down as one of the best in the NFL. So I don't see him finishing out that contract. I believe he's got a few more years left in him, and then he's going to retire. But no problems at all. I mean, Andy continues to show that he can win with the team built around him. Remember, he took a Philadelphia Eagles team to the Super Bowl. They came up just a little bit short. So kudos to Andy on that next contract. But again, I don't think he actually finishes. I think he retires way before it ends.
Yeah. And that's kind of my assessment as well. I think he might go ahead and retire before the contract ends. At that point, he'll probably have to wind up giving back some of the money. They'll come to terms or something, with the
Mhm.
team, to go ahead and let him retire and give him his flowers at that. But definitely, it's something that that's gonna be looming on the horizon, for the Chiefs, much like the San Antonio Spurs here. Who's gonna be the successor to one Coach Pop when he decides to go ahead and retire? I don't think that's gonna happen for another 2 or 3 seasons, but when he does, that's gonna be a big topic of discussion. I think it's something that Spurs fans should really start thinking about now. Who's going to be that successor? Because I think what's happening here, like much with like Andy Reid. I mean, he's built the team right here around Mahomes.
Mhm.
Him and the front office have. That's probably going to be good for a while, even after he leaves.
Yeah.
So just much like San Antonio, Coach Pop is trying to build the foundation, and hopefully this team will be competitive and be good enough to contend once he decides to go ahead and hang it up.
Yeah.
So I can draw the comparisons there between the two. That's kind of what I was looking at when they extended one Andy Reid here. I'm like, okay, they're probably going to be looking to see who his successor will be. They got to be thinking about it, don't you think so?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all to know if the Spurs actually have somebody already in line to take over for Pop, whether he's already a part of the coaching staff or not. It's tough to say. Uh, sadly, sadly, I wish he would already had his successor right now on the team. But it's tough to say who's going to actually take over for Pop. If it's me and I had a choice of anybody in the NBA, it would definitely be Eric Spoelstra from Miami. That would be
Yeah.
my number one and really only choice to do. But I
But
mean,
the Heat have already extended him.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's never going to leave Miami. He's got his job there for life. So outside of that, I mean, it's tough to say who you'd want to take over for Pop, man.
Yeah, tough call either way, man. So we're gonna go ahead and start bringing the show to an end here. Well,
Mhm.
usually we try to end it around 11:30. Yesterday we went a little long, but because we had the photo edition. So before we go ahead and bring the show to an end here, go ahead and let everybody know where they can follow you. They can see it right there at Sweep the League on the X. But what do you got cooking up for Friday's show?
So for Friday, it's going to be the day after the first round of the draft. So we're definitely going to cover all the picks, let you know how we feel about which players went where. Also get into more of the Donovan Mitchell Spurs talk that we brought up earlier that kind of caused a little firestorm on the Alamo City Sportscast. Sorry about that. Press with that. But also another topic. It's on Locked On Spurs today. So be sure to check out Locked On Spurs with me and Jeff Garcia. That's another topic that's going to be coming up, and it has to do with Tim Duncan and Wemby. So the comparisons kind of got not a heated, but we kind of got into a little debate about that. So be sure to take a look at Locked On Spurs today. Watch it. Let us know how you feel, and we'll discuss more of it on Friday.
Yeah, so definitely make sure you go and follow Rudy. Make sure you tune in to the new episode of Sweep the League, which will
Mhm,
be coming to you live on the Alamo City Sportscast, or the podcast network, should I say.
mhm.
So make sure you go and tune in. So for Rudy Campos Jr., I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast. We'll see you boys tomorrow. We're out. Peace.